welcome back. Tomorrow, a very busy day in South Africa, the start of level 3 of the lockdown. Schools are scheduled to reopen. Most companies, firms, businesses opening their doors for the first time in 2 months as we move to level 3 of the lockdown. Another sector making what many think is going to be a big comeback is the alcohol industry. Liquor outlets will be open tomorrow for the first time in 2 months. Joining me now for more on this, Sean Robinson, spokesperson of the South African Liquor Traders Association. Sean, good afternoon to you. Are you ready for tomorrow?
Good afternoon, Stephen. I certainly hope so. We've certainly put a significant amount of time and effort and energy into preparing and getting ready for tomorrow. So we're excited and we're ready to serve customers again.
Are you expecting queues? I imagine you will need to manage some queues in some places.
Yes, I think very much so. There certainly will be queues. We're going to be very careful about ensuring social distancing as well as ensuring that the limits of the number of customers in the store are upheld by security and our staff. So there certainly will be queues that develop outside stores, and it'll be up to us and also hopefully the consumer to honour the social distancing and make sure that the first day back is safe and a happy experience for everybody.
In real terms, through no fault of yours, the price of alcohol has probably, in real terms, I'm always going to say street value of alcohol, has probably gone up quite dramatically over the last little while. That means what you're moving around has more value. Have you had to increase security?
We have increased security over you mean during the lockdown period?
Yes.
Yes, yeah, we have had certainly increased security across most outlets. I represent the independent traders, and I know for a fact that all of them have certainly been very conscious about security over this period. We've been concerned about the opportunistic looting of stores as the illicit trade and the demand for alcohol has been obviously quite high during this lockdown period. So yes, we've been very conscious of security, and we've increased security across the board.
As I understand the regulations, and I'm sure you've studied them a lot more than I have, you've actually been allowed to move alcohol around for the last 2 days, I think from the 29th of May. Has a lot of alcohol been moving around the country?
Yeah, we were delighted. We collaborated quite significantly with the DTI, and we were delighted that they gave us the opportunity to stock our stores over the last 3 days. So they didn't allow for the transport of alcohol. And that meant that our suppliers could do their deliveries and supply us, so that we're far better prepared for tomorrow when consumers line up to make their purchase.
And I mean, obviously the last 24 hours, 48 hours before the lockdown started would have been very busy for you. Was that busier than a normal, say, New Year's Day or Christmas period for most of the liquor industry?
It was probably as busy. There were queues outside. There was certainly an element, I guess, of panic buying the last day before lockdown, as consumers were uncertain as to how long they would not be able to purchase for. So I must say that our trade has dealt with significant demand in the past. As you can imagine, we were exposed to those 3 days before lockdown, as well as Black Friday, New Year's Eve, Christmas Eve. So we have handled significant volumes and demand in the past, and we hope to be ready. We're not quite sure what to expect, and so there's a certain amount of nervous excitement about tomorrow. And but we believe we're well prepared. We also collaborated with a number of other partners in the industry, such as the grocers, as well as taverns and other associations, so that we've committed to a certain protocol, and I've got to get the name right, but it's operating guidelines that we've all agreed to implement as of tomorrow.
Part of those guidelines, well, as part of the regulations, is you're not allowed to be open on Fridays, Saturdays, Sundays and public holidays. Obviously, your sector will have lost a lot of money during this time. I imagine that some people might find they're actually not able to break even during this time. You're actually still going to lose a significant amount of revenue because of that.
Yes, our fixed costs remain in place, so whether we open for 4 days or 7, our fixed costs are obviously still apply. So, but we're still delighted that the DTI collaborated with us, and initially the level 3 regulations suggested Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 8 until 12, which is a total of 12 hours. And we as an industry now have 32 hours to trade, which is, as you know, Monday to Thursday, 9 until 5. So although it's not absolutely optimal, we're delighted as an industry that we've got more than we initially were offered.
The policy space around what you sell, alcohol, and around tobacco, if I may say, and sometimes the two do go together, Sean, is likely to get very, very interesting. I mean, a lot of people are going to look at what's happened here and in other countries during this period of the ban and sort of make them think again. Do you think some people will actually have got out of the habit of drinking?
Yes, I think so. And, you know, Stephen, I think alcohol is often consumed in social environments. So whether that be after a game of sport or at a dinner party or in a tavern where there's other people around and it's very social. So under these circumstances where social gatherings are prohibited, I think there would certainly be a reduction in consumption. And I also think there's going to be a reduction in consumption in the weeks ahead, as people are only allowed, are permitted to purchase alcohol to consume at home. And that includes taverns, licensed taverns, and licensed on-premise outlets such as pubs, clubs, restaurants. And they're entitled to sell to people for off-consumption purposes. So I do think overall we're going to have a reduction in consumption over the next period.
There are likely to be other changes in your industry as well. I mean, on the one side, you might find that some people don't believe that government won't ban the sale of alcohol again. So people will stockpile. They'll keep bigger stocks at home than they might have in the past.
That's possible, and I guess that there will be quite a bit of demand because of that uncertainty in the next week. But as traders and as retailers, we are going to be implementing limits as to what people can purchase. And those limits are practical. In other words, we don't want people to have to regularly visit a retailer, so that we would rather have fewer visits. But at the same time, we don't want to encourage significant pantry loading or stockpiling, which may lead to resale or even just potential excessive consumption because of the availability. So getting that balance right has been quite a challenge. And I think just as a note to the public and our customers is that there will be limits that will be in place as of tomorrow.
I presume, is each shop setting their own limit?
And the DTI have asked that we do self-regulate in that regard. So bigger stores and warehouse-type liquor environments will have bigger limits. And the smaller store formats, the smaller retailers would, because of their inability to stock and hold significant volumes of liquor, would have smaller limits. So there will be different limits across the groups and across different store types.
Sean, you will know that there's pent-up demand for alcohol. At the same time, some people might run out, so there's concerns about what will happen in the future. The supply chains, despite the 2 days of transport, might well be disrupted. Do you think the Competition Commission would be advised to be out in force tomorrow, make sure no one's making too much money during this time?
Yeah, I think I must just point out and notice that our suppliers have had price increases during this lockdown period. So consumers will notice that there has been a slight increase in their favourite drink. And those price increases were actually scheduled before the lockdown period, so it's not as if it was done because of the lockdown. So there will be prices that people will notice that are higher. But I don't perceive there to be any concern in that regard. I think the marketplace, as per normal, will regulate price. I must also just say that we as an industry have agreed that we won't be advertising specials over the alert level 3. So don't expect a significant number of big adverts and leaflets, etc., all over the press. But we were entitled to have product and price on websites as well as obviously in store. But I don't perceive there being any price hikes in the retail liquor market.
I like the way you get your justification in early, Sean, if I may say. I do need to talk just about possible changes in your sector. So we're seeing around the world more of a shift to delivery services. I mean, in some ways going backwards. But what you're seeing is that more people want to have things delivered to their home than in the past. This will apply specifically if it comes to in bulk, which we might be expecting in your industry. That, to my mind, would seem to favour the companies that have big supply chains already. In other words, those who sell alcohol but are actually linked to supermarkets. So your Spar, Tops, your Pick and Pay liquor, your Checkers liquor, etc. Are you expecting that smaller players, I think you really do represent the independent players, are they going to come under more pressure?
They could do. I do think that the formal and organised, the bigger multinationals are very organised, and they will probably quite quickly be able to introduce world-class supply chain, e-commerce solutions, etc. So I do guess that the independent retailer may come under pressure. What we have noticed is that a number of independent retailers are joining bigger groups and franchise groups, and therefore they're beginning to be able to tap into better solutions, better systems, and better overall offerings. So I think what you'll notice is over time, the stores that are better positioned and in good retail locations will probably join groups that will then enable them to have great systems and still be able to compete with the grocers.